Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious here. Back in the Purple State Party. Free zone. Start our own country right here, man. So anyhow, let's get this kicked off. We kind of already know what the week holds. We've all been watching it. So, one of my plans was, more humor. We'll talk about Trump, but, the Democrats just won't let stuff go. They're stirring the pot when you get into all that. But I really wanted to start with something I really found kind of interesting. I was just kind of looking through my my Twitter feeds, my Instagrams, things like that, people I follow. And I realized that, me, I'm just a weird kind of nerdy guy. I'm not going to get into everything, but, I don't have many friends left. I lost a lot of them when I sobered up, when I quit doing drugs, when I quit doing crime, court orders, things like that. But, one of my only friends died almost a year ago. And, so it got me thinking about that. I was looking at a picture of him today. And I just thought, man, I don't really have any friends. But, I have allies. And right now, I think that's almost more important. I just wanted to talk about a few of my allies. And up first right here is the beautiful Ms. Blair White, who, if you don't know, is a trans woman. And how we became sort of allies, as you would say, is one day my daughter just wanted to watch some YouTube video stuff we haven't seen. We watch a lot of stupid Sims type games and, reaction and commentary, things like that. Drew Good and Danny Gonzalez, some stuff like that. And she's like, I want to watch something a little more serious. So I said, okay, whatever. And she's like, I wanted you to see this girl. She makes these videos. I think you'll like them, but I didn't really know how you'd feel about it. So she puts it on, and the first one, Blair and her boyfriend go to Hollywood wearing a MAGA hat, Make America Great Again hat, and, first they go to the kind of the gay area of Hollywood, and they don't really get any reaction. They go to another part of LA or Hollywood, and somebody throws the hat, and eventually somebody throws a drink in Blair's face. I don't know why you do it. I mean, she's a quirky, cool chick, but I guess, you don't know that. You see the hat, and so I'm like, okay. I think she's just pranking. So I'm like, whatever. So the next video starts, and she's going to a meet and greet, and there's a bunch of protesters apparently outside. She says she gets protested everywhere she goes, and I'm like, well, she's a trans woman, whatever. I can already imagine what it's gonna be like. But she goes outside, and there's a lady holding a sign, and the sign says something to the effect of "Queers Against Fascism," and I'm like, what? Well, it turns out that they're protesting her because she's a Republican. And I thought, wow. So every group, it seems now, will turn on you if you don't adhere to the politics of the group. And I'm like, man, that's really not American. And as you can see, Blair's American right there. And that got me thinking there's other allies out there that are kind of the same way, where, there are people who tell the truth, and they pay a price for it. Like Tucker Carlson here. I'm still not even really a fan of his. I don't really like watching the news. I kind of have found over the years, I kind of prefer, my own research to see what the real story is, but then listen to the opinions of just, people. Like the comment boards on something like Yahoo. That's where you can kind of see some truth in there, I guess. And, Tucker now is under fire because, he wanted to speak some inconvenient truth, and, he's got a point. I happen to agree with a lot of what he says. I don't digest everything, but, this brings up the interesting point right here. Disney's pulling the ads, and that's what happens. I don't understand how the people on the left can be so hypocritical, to blame capitalism, to blame corporate America, to blame, the things that they blame. But then they get all of their news from corporately owned newscasts that have been bought and, fraternized and all of that to come up with these stories to go after the number one villain, Donald Trump, who used to be a media darling. I get it. You guys lost in 2016 and you're bitter, but this is bullshit. You're supposed to work together, and if somebody calls you out on it, you're not supposed to run them out of town. I mean, this is like back in the 50s with the McCarthy trials, where like people were ruined because of perceived associations with communists. Whatever, right or wrong, it's the same thing. We're not supposed to be repeating that. We're supposed to be changing our history. Well, you can't change history if you do the same thing in the present. Well, I'm clicking on a keyboard that doesn't really want to do anything. And of course, that brings me to my other ally. And another person who's always getting chopped down because she doesn't vote the way that her group does, Candace Owens. I met her. Well, I was introduced to her in a video that was talking about how quickly the mob turns on you. I think that was it. And she was just leaving for lunch. That was it. And everybody was like just yelling the N-word and every other like racial epithet they could come up with, all because this girl dared to speak out against the Democratic Party and to throw her support behind Trump. Now, I mean, as you can see, she's controversial. Dave Chappelle doesn't seem to really care for her. And I really like Dave Chappelle, but I think he lobbed in a personal attack that really didn't need to be made. I mean, personally, that's just my belief on it. But I get it. I mean, feelings run hot sometimes and people say things. But whatever. I mean, I think, I think she's very interesting. And she bases a lot of stuff on facts. Facts. I mean, that's the bane of the left. Facts. And this chick, she's just the ally of the week, I guess, because that's some pretty damn funny stuff, and we need some humor right now. I mean, oh, man. That's funny. That takes me back. I used to do that when there was a radio station that came to town called Pirate Radio. I used to slap their bumper stickers everywhere. One time I actually got out on an on-ramp and slapped it on the back of a car as we were getting onto the freeway. Traffic was a little bit backed up, just so you know. There you go. Here's another guy. Another guy I find fascinating. Because, again, I want to see what kind of perspectives come out of somebody who's not me. That's the problem that I see with a lot of the liberals that I talk to. A lot of liberals that I know. They just regurgitate things. They don't ever look for any sort of dissenting opinion. I like to play devil's advocate. I really do. I mean, there are things that I believe that Republicans don't believe. I mean, if you haven't figured it out through any of my stuff, I get high. I'm weird. I'm fucking trying to be your 18th favorite superhero, man. I got my issues. I don't fit in. I probably wouldn't fit in with most of these people. Vernon Jones right here. Democrat. He's a Democrat. Left the party because he was tired of what you're reading right there on the screen, man. I mean, Hollywood, you use blacks. Now they want to try to cover it all up, and they want to be a part of the solution by pulling everything off the air, erasing our past. Even Lady Antebellum wants to change their name because somehow that's going to change things. If we forget our past, we're doomed to repeat it. Odd little fact, in something like the 1200s, the King of England no longer needed the Jews. Made them wear yellow stars. Fast forward to the 1940s, Hitler did the same damn thing. History repeats itself. That's almost a certainty at this point. But I love this guy, Vernon. He's another person I probably would not get along with him. He probably has some views that I don't agree with, and vice versa. I mean, that's just the way it is. But I found this next little, looking back on it, because I didn't want to jump ship there and move on to another topic. I'm guessing I actually get along with Blair probably the most. We would probably align because I am, like a lot of the people that I just showed you, a former Democrat who, under the Clinton administration, saw all the wrong decisions, and I had to leave a job because he started talking about any employee over 40 hours or 40 hours or more, getting free health insurance paid for by their employer. And my employer cut my hours to the point where I couldn't work there anymore. And so I was out of a job. So I kind of did the thing that I did best, which was, find money somehow and do math. So that really worked out for me. But this next one that I kind of alluded to, this is what I have a problem with, is that if you have an organization that sort of holds itself up as though they're going to do something, but they're not really doing that, it's a shell to get money for other things. I just think that's very dishonest, and it diverts money from organizations that could actually do something. If the money donated to this charity, went to what you would think it went to, then maybe they can do some good. Maybe they wouldn't pop up just every, 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got that little glow going on my eye, man. It looks like I got laser eyes, or I'm like the undead. I don't know. But like I said, I'm a weird dude, so, I guess that's just bound to happen. I don't know where it's coming from. There's my little light right there. I'm kind of a shambles, but, I hope that's part of my charm. It probably isn't, But speaking of charm and charming places, I guess we're going to move on to Chaz here. That free zone. The thing that bothers me about that, my perspective on it is, they didn't take it. They didn't seize it. They're not even holding it. They were given it by a Democratic mayor. And not really a conspiracy. I can come up with conspiracy theories, but I don't really necessarily buy them. This one I buy a little bit more. But it's because, other people have probably said it, but for me, I haven't read it anywhere else. But I think this is just pretty much an excuse to rile Trump up into a bad decision. It's like in chess, when you put a piece out to try to lure somebody into making that bad move to overreach. You move your queen out, and people will start licking their chops. I'm gonna get that queen. I'm gonna shut this game down, and you fall right into a trap. And that's what I think it is. And I don't really want to talk much about it because, frankly, it's pretty freaking stupid. If you haven't seen it, you can look this up. I really tried to do my research. I might not seem like a research kind of guy, but I don't like being wrong, But man, basically they've used chokeholds. They've knelt on people's backs while using the chokehold. They do have guns. They do certainly seem to be demonstrating a little bit of role reversal in the whole systemic racism thing. But it's basically just a freak show. And that's what it is. And I think really the Republicans should just step back and watch it. Just let it go, because unless you live there, like you don't really have a dog in the fight, because they're really only making the left look bad. The left is going to try to distance themselves from it, but at some point, the American people are going to realize that the wool was pulled down their eyes. They're going to start feeling the itchy wool up there, and they're going to be like, "Oh my God, CNN is selling us a story." You see that in this little graphic right here. Now, I haven't had time to verify any of that one. I saw it. Seems about right. But even if it's not right, it's more a metaphor of what they do. Look at some of these numbers right here. They didn't care about the victims, man. They cared about the looting, the fear it generated, the discussions, the overreactions by Republicans, they're trying to bait us into saying things, man. But it's BS. A lot of this is all just, it is just, people are waking up. People realize that when you talk about defunding the police, it's racist. I said it last week, man. I'll say it again. That's what it is. It's racist. It's white people using minorities for their own gain. Oh, look at me. I'm the savior. I got to skip ahead here for a second because I have something else queued up. And I wanted to talk about saviors. And there's one of the so-called saviors right there. There's a video out there. I'll see if I can find a link or post it somehow or something. But there is an African woman talking about how insensitive this really is and talking about stop treating Africans like children. Because she's wearing a scarf that is, if you know anything about Scottish tartans, they have, and plaids and stuff, they have, the family has a certain design, color, all that. Kind of, and it's not a crest, but it's just a pattern. And it's the same thing over in Africa. That pattern belongs to a specific tribe. It doesn't belong to Africa. It's African in origin. But that's the kind of pandering. So I follow a lot of people who like to make fun of it. I like to leave their names up there. I hope that's not a bad thing. But, if you enjoy these videos, you'll enjoy these places. And, I haven't seen why I'm supposed to scratch them out. Look at that one. I saw that one today. I love that one. That was freaking awesome. And this is just a random one of at least a little bit of hope for us. I really love the flag they got down there. Don't tread, bro. I really like that. That's, to me, is really cool. So let me scroll back here. And we're going to move on because we already touched on Nancy Pelosi. She's a Karen in sheep's clothing, man. She'd Karen out in a minute. You could, yeah. I'm surprised we don't already have it. The best part was you'd end up with the dentures coming out. Speaking of dentures, you got this guy. How many people were watching him? 68. But don't let our guard down, man. This could be a sucker move, too. They will do anything to win this election. Look at this. I mean, one of these days I got to shoot a video about throwing elections. I think the Democrats kind of like it under Trump because they can be lazy. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to commit to anything. Just Trump, 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 Trump. That's all they have to do. And their little lapdog supporters lick it up like it's milk. It's fucking disgusting. Yeah, there you go. Again, spending all that money. And I play, we need to clean it up. Misinformation. Yeah, right. Like, you guys are not using social media to shut down voices. Come on. It's bad enough all the TV and most of the print is, you got the social media now. And now you're pretending, oh, no, we're scared of that. We're scared of that. This is one of my quotes. I mean, it kind of sums up how I kind of feel about what's going on there. Right? Here's CNN right here again. I'm just clicking through my thing. Here's the good news of the week. Right there. I don't even know what we're allowed to call him anymore. Suspect. Alleged scumbag. How about that? Alleged scumbag. We'll call him that. Boom. I mean, it's just stuff just keeps flowing, man. One of the sites that I follow, I always like to repeat the thing saying the right can't meme. And, the left can't meme. That's my bad. And it seems that way because sometimes we just knock home runs and they're over there like bunting foul balls with babies with Trump's face on it. Here's a baby with Trump's face on it right here. This is mine. I made this, I'm proud of it. So let's see. Lose the button again. Everything has to fall apart for me, It's just that way. I need to make I need to make my cursor bigger is what I need to do, so I can see it. Whoa! I just zoomed in on a picture. I don't even know how I did that. Huh? I guess I reached the end of my pictures. That's that behind the scenes stuff that you guys can probably all do without. Yeah, there you go. I think we did. I think we just about covered it. But that brings me to what I was saying earlier about a war. And that's what I feel, because here at Purple State, we, thought maybe this would be some sort of middle party someday, or represent, the idea of a middle party. But the left is just too far gone. I want some compromises. I want a little more progressive thinking out of the Republicans. I want them to put aside certain voting blocks and just say, hey, go vote somewhere else. We don't need your views. But we need to pull in people like Blair White. We need to pull in people like Candace Owens. We need to pull in people that come from south of our borders, or west of our borders, or east of our borders, or north even. We can't afford to be alienating people right now. So, when you're on the social media and stuff, be feisty, be scrappy, man. I told one person, hey, if you think Biden is going to win, maybe you should move to Seattle, where he has a chance. Oh, wait, they already have a warlord. but move anyhow. But try to keep it clean. Try not to, learn to, just keep your hate to yourself. Don't be hateful. Don't be using hateful language. And in the bigger picture, I think it is high time that the feds just remove marijuana from their schedule. Trump should do that. Trump should set up some committees to maybe really address some of the issues that face our different communities. Different ways of helping. Some communities need financial job support, stuff like that. They're not handled the same way as people who need health and medical rights, visitation rights, marriage rights. They don't need, they not need a check, but they need other things. And if you address those things as the president, you can draw in voters, because the left is just, they haven't done anything. They haven't done a damn thing. And what they have been doing lately is working from home, trying to figure out how to rig an election, burn down our cities, all in an attempt to get our president mad, so that maybe, if they're lucky, he does something stupid and people die and they can use that against him. They're willing to sacrifice your lives, folks. So if you're on that side, you need to put the pieces together. You need to look at the moves that have been made and see where they're going with this. Because they're using you. They're sending you into the no man's land to get mowed down. And I'm not saying that as a Republican, man. I'm saying that as somebody who plays chess. That's what's happening. I've been there, man. I've been the radical. I've done things like that. And frankly, it doesn't work. Martin Luther King had it right, man. You can't... Both sides need to listen to this. You can't expect to solve things through this violence and intimidation, because you turn people off. You turn the rational people off, and we need rational people back again. But that's not what we have. It's irrational. And hopefully I can get an answer in the comment section. Probably not, because this is video number 15, and I probably don't even have that many views. But I don't really care, man. To me, that's not what it's about. It's about getting this out there, hoping to reach people. But young people, I don't understand why when I watch Survivor, the first person you vote out is the old people. I mean, not everyone, not every time. I don't need examples. But why is that kind of the stereotype? Big Brother, same thing. You know why? And now you're going to vote people who have been in office for decades. They bitch and complain about things like systemic racism. They say, oh, this country's rigged against certain people. But they've been there the whole time. They've been there the whole time. It boggles my mind that anybody buys that BS. Really. It really boggles my mind that anybody buys that BS. You know, they've had their shot. You guys had youth in the race. You didn't choose it. You didn't choose it. Half of you went Bernie Sanders. I mean, he seems like an all right guy. I'm not going to get into his politics, but he seems like an all right guy. His tweets are not as inflammatory. Sometimes they are, sometimes, but most of the time they're not. I actually congratulated him on one. I actually said, hey, that's a brilliant statement. I wish you had been the nominee in 2016. You know? Whatever. Same thing this year. Man, because that's the problem I have with this year's election is the left has gone cuckoo. And they're putting up a guy who's not really fit to be president. And he's not the president for these times. He is somebody who has not lifted a finger to help. He signed a crime bill, which was seen as bad for the blacks. Hasn't done much else. He was vice president. Not much got done. I don't know what the hell you guys are thinking. I really don't. But Republicans, do not count your votes before they are voted. We need to be on our best behavior. We need to watch what we say, but still say it. But just watch the way you say it. Be more compassionate. You know? Don't get into yelling matches with these fools. If they're the type of people who are just going to try to out-yell you, just walk away. They're not worth it. They're not worth saving. They're still delusional. They're still delusional. I don't know what else to say, man. But it's been a crazy week. I guess war has kind of been declared. Chaz is so silly. I don't know what it's... I don't think it's going to end well for the people of Chaz. I don't think that we're going to start diplomatic relations with them. Just remember, they were given it. You guys were given it. You didn't earn it. You didn't have to fight for it. A wimpy mayor just went, oh, summer of love. You know, getting to relive the old hippie days, the summer of love. We'll all just sit around. We'll do our drugs. No police. No nothing. You know. Meanwhile, you know, they're beating the shit out of people they don't agree with. Their little socialist paradise lasted just a few hours. Now, I know there's conflicting reports. But let's be honest. The first thing they did was put up a wall. So that about sums it up. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to everybody around you. Remember, love one another. Be nice. We need an army because we must win. Copious out.